where arts and adventure summits the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. I'm R. Brandon Long, along with
Todd Oberndorfer. See, you remember. Thank you.
Yes, totally.
It usually buzzes right through my head.
And we're your hosts for the greatest arts and adventure podcast in all the land. See, I narrowed that down. It was the greatest podcast in all the land, but I qualified it just a little bit to now we're the greatest arts.
You got to lower the bar.
We got to lower the bar. I was a little nervous, like someone might call us out, like,
Arts and Adventure, I'll put us against something.
Yeah, I'll put us against all the arts and adventure podcasts out there. Our guests this week, we have Cassidy Eames. Eames.
Good. Yeah.
Filmmaker, photographer, or photographer, filmmaker?
Oh, that's great. Either one.
Okay.
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart. Oh, God. This is great. At Captured by Cassidy on Instagram. Her new film coming out, premiering, Upward, featuring Reid, Woolsey, and Robert Davis, October 22nd, which is October
16th.
16th, my bad.
Yeah.
How come it happened in October 22 is when it was?
October of last year.
Oops. Okay. We'll get into that. So, yes. Then Cam McLeod. And Cam brought a guest. Cam McLeod, photographer, filmmaker, or filmmaker, photographer?
Barely on all those.
Barely. Okay.
Follow your heart.
See how this is going to go here. Has a show, Coincidences, and he brought along Joe, last name?
Blake.
Joe Blake, that's right. Joe Blake, was this your idea, Joe?
It started off as a choreographic idea commission with Ryrie Woodbury Dance Company.
But from your brain?
From my brain, from my body.
Yes.
I followed my heart.
Look what happens.
See what happens when you follow your heart?
I think we got a title now.
Follow Your Heart is the title of the podcast, title of the show.
We're going to add something to that, but probably, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Very good. We were supposed to have Sandra. I don't know if Sandra didn't show up, but it turns out we're full here. So, Joe, let's start with you if we can, because I'm excited to have you here. I read Cam's description. Actually, I read your description first that Cam posted to Instagram of Coincidences, this project, and then I read Cam's, and yours was more interesting, let's be honest.
But they were similar.
They were similar.
See, the first coincidence right
that's
there.
The first coincidence. So, but here's Cam's, and then I didn't type yours up because I didn't know you were going to be here. So then I want to hear your explanation of the project, but I'm going to read Cam's, what he wrote. So,
Perfect.
Coincidences. In collaboration with choreographer, I had your name written down right here, Joe Blake, and guided by their descriptive intentions of the titled work Coincidence, when we met up, again in parentheses, the installation is an interpretation of the choreography as reimagined through abstract form and presentation. With a focus on trauma, isolation, and a desire to connect with the physical world, these photographic and video works are an exploration of our journey through a chaotic world and the patchwork of traumas we experience that breaks us down and in their wake provides us space to grow. That's so many art words, Cam.
Oh, I think that's a nice artist statement. It's easy to follow.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you did a nice job.
Thanks. Well, I mean, the thesaurus.
That was how did you use it? Did you go there?
Chat GPT.
Chat GPT spit that one out.
Give me an artist statement.
With some dance stuff.
Okay, Joe, do you have yours pulled up? No, you don't have to read it word for word, but I thought it was fascinating. So your description of the project Coincidences.
Is this not the same one?
No, this is so
It's the same
both
show.
what I posted first was Joe's. So we have a sort of a joint artist statement on
Got
the
you.
project.
Yeah.
We have a project description as well, but I posted Joe's artist statement. So this was what was, in his words, the statement behind the work from his point of view in the choreography and why it was created. And then I had my artist statement, which was different. It was an interpretation of that as you read. So this is Joe's artist statement.
Coincidences is an interdisciplinary multimedia project and contemporary movement experience exploring shared isolation, concepts of sensory stimulation, and informed trauma that impacts the human experience. The original choreography, Coincidences When We Meet, was inspired by the choreographer, that's me, self-informed research initiated by their desire for self-love. Living in white spaces as a mixed-race homosexual, they maneuvered through spaces inflicted or informed through imposter syndrome, microaggression, self-hate, and self-deprecation that manifested in unhealthy conversations or lack of. Through introspection and awareness of isolation, I was discovering clarity and discomfort and new direction through the power of voice and autonomy. What happens when an individual wandering in their self-doubt finds himself again?
I love it. Very good. And with projects like this, Joe, and it hasn't launched. It's this Friday.
It premieres this Friday.
Yep. And that will be at the Dumpke Arts Plaza.
Yes.
Which is very cool. And you're in collaboration with Cam, which is why it's the only reason he's on the podcast. What I'm hoping this project has done for you, and maybe this isn't premature, but has it brought healing? What have you learned through the process?
I mean, this is its third iteration. The first iteration started with the commission with Ryrie Woodbury Dance, which was more looking at sensory stimulation. And then when I restaged it at Weber State, where I'm a professor and program director, I set it on the students. We dug a little deeper. And through that reflection, beginning to understand that, it's actually my space living in white spaces. But this, not just my story, what is it going to affect the students? And what are their stories? And how am I going to take that on in those experiences? From there, being able to work with Cam, yes, deeper introspection, taking the time to look at the images, talking about the film, and interestingly enough, when I saw the first draft of the video, I just was in tears. The juxtaposition, the dual perspectives really actually highlighted my recent diagnosis with ADHD, and it really just blew my mind that they were able to capture, or we were able to work together, and I could see myself in that film. And so healing, absolutely. Choreography is a healing process for me, and it's always a physical journal. And the opportunity to share it just makes it so much more.
Now, the two of you have worked together before, yeah?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you first come together?
That's a good question.
I was trying to remember, and I couldn't.
I reached out to Joe, and I got Joe's name through Tana.
Okay.
And I reached out to him for a project that I was doing, a commercial project with Jaybird headphones. They're
Waters. Now.
Yes, Waters.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tana Waters
Yeah.
now. Right, correct. I was like, Waters. What does that have to do with the headphones? Yeah, they were waterproof.
I was a minute behind you, so.
Thought he was just thirsty.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
So I was doing some contract work for this headphone company who wanted to branch out and highlight some untold stories, but through movement and usually they're no longer a thing, but they were a sports brand, so they were really marketing towards runners and athletes. And I presented this idea of filming dance and dance as a means of exercise and movement, and I thought it fit into that bucket nicely, but it was just adjacent to more of a traditional sports environment. So I reached out to Joe and asked if he'd be willing to share his movement, but also his story, and that's kind of where, I don't know.
And then they
our
went out of
relationship
business.
kicked off.
So-
And then they went out of business. Yeah.
Well, that was my first time in the States because we recorded.
Cam
the
does really
there.
good
Yeah,
work
that's right.
for businesses that go out.
Usually.
Fail.
I don't,
Usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually.
Oh, I love that.
But interestingly, I had worked with Dylan in another project here with Wade Kavanaugh in the paperwork that was.
Yes,
in the-
I remember that. That was a big deal.
And so I was able to meet Dylan. So that was also a coincidence that we've all come together.
That's right.
Cam, how did you take Joe's words and interpret that through photography? What are some of the decisions you made?
Well, I mean, we worked on this project for probably close to 2 years now.
Oh, that's right. So it began in late 2020 or something?
Yeah, we were supposed to actually film last October, and the no-see-ums, we had such a warm fall, the no-see-ums out at Antelope Island where we filmed.
Did you have that on your list of things to check before you went out
We
there?
did. We went and
Yes.
scouted multiple times, and we found that the no-see-ums were so bad that we had to abort. And
Interesting.
we rescheduled for the spring, so we ended up waiting through the whole winter, and then we shot in April. But leading up to October of last year, we probably met for almost a full year talking about the project and trying to turn it into words, because Joe communicates through movement. And so he had an artist kind of brief, but really what I needed to build visuals around that was a better sense of clarity on what he was trying to say through his movements. And so we had, I don't know how many countless meetings in really trying to figure out like what's he trying to say, who are these characters, why are they moving in this way. So I was trying to really break down the process of his approach to choreography and this project in particular, and like why, what are we trying to say visually that will add to this, because we were looking at it as an installation, so we didn't want to just capture a performance piece. We wanted to really create its own body of work or its own art installation around the choreography. So for me to do that and for me to give Dylan direction on how to do that, we really needed to understand like what we were trying to say and to create a mood and create a style around that. So a year of conversations to get to where we were at. I think within the artist statement, it's trauma, self-awareness, the idea that your identity is yours, but it's adjacent to what's going around you, and trying to capture that. So I don't know, those were all informative languages that we tried to build into the style of the video and the photos. So really capturing an abstract emotional experience as opposed to a documentation of the work.
Mm-hmm.
First time shooting something like this, Cam?
No, not really.
Okay.
Joe and I also worked together on Social and Distance, which
Yep,
was
I
in
remember that.
collaboration
Okay.
with Tana Waters,
Yeah.
previously Tana Halbert.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure I had that right. So Tana and I collaborated on a project through Ogden Movement Collective during COVID to capture somewhat similar themes, but the idea of social or collective isolation, and that piece was called Social and Distance, and that was installed at Ogden Contemporary Arts for a short period of time. I think it was up for like 6 weeks, and that also included photo, video installations, a bunch of GIFs, just basically looping imagery that captured a sense of chaos, and then live performances as well. So it's a very similar format, I guess, but and even some similar themes, but very different subject matter and different a very different location for the installation, which posed a whole new set of restrictions and opportunities, but then also filming outside and
When did you wrap things up? How long have you been sitting on this?
we shot it all in a day. So
We did.
the shooting wasn't long. It was the pre-production and post-production that took so long.
And then a storm came in, kind of shortened our process outdoors.
Yeah, we were planning on filming for 2 days, or 2 separate days, and we ended up not being able to do that. So we got everything we needed in one day. And then it was just a matter of the long process of going through the work and editing the work, and not just editing as like a formal matter, but like really going through it and curating the work, and both on photo and video, and putting it together to create the narrative that we were looking for.
Any big changes after that day of filming? Or did it stay pretty true?
No, it stayed pretty true, I think. We were just talking before we stepped in to do the podcast that like I've been going back through the work and the photos specifically, not the video, but the first round of edits that I did with the photos it was mostly black and white, and I really loved the way they turned out in black and white. And a lot of that was also this idea of trauma and this idea of introspection towards your trauma and trying to like understand that. And I really like this idea of like creating imagery that had that was sort of like an X-ray. So the black and white, and then I sort of inverted a lot of those images through post-production in Photoshop, and created almost an inverted layer in black and white that made it look almost like an X-ray. And this idea that we could sort of see through and see the trauma, that the traumas, plural, that we all experience and that are perpetrated on us by others or ourselves, and these things that we experience and we might neglect, but then being able to sort of reflect on them and see them through our own skin. So I was really going back through that imagery and really liked the way it turned out. But because of where we were installing the work, most of the work is going to be in color, because the plaza itself is so monochromatic to begin with. It's very concrete and very bland in ways. It's kind of a blank slate, but it really receives color better than it would receive more monochromatic work. So there are some black and white images, just not as many as I had kind of originally envisioned. But that was one of those sort of unseen circumstances or restrictions that the plaza presented.
You didn't shoot the project or do around the space where it was going to be. That was afterwards.
No, we knew it was going in the plaza, but we didn't shoot specifically for the plaza.
Yeah.
And then dealt with the plaza. The plaza became another collaborator in a way. Like we had to figure out what the limitations were, both with the space and the timeline given. So what could we put up in that space? And that space is so new to being programmed that we don't quite know what. There's not a lot of proof of installations prior to this project.
Right.
So most things, in fact, everything that's been installed there up to this point has been sculptural, so it's been welded into place. We haven't done any suspension work yet, which I think a lot of people have hoped for in ways, and we explored that, but it's just like you just need longer lead times to figure those problems out, which we didn't have.
And Joe, you're not going to be there the whole time. You're just going to dance and go. You're just going to.
We have two performances.
Okay.
So with the premiere, there will be live performance. The work that was restaged on Weber State students. And then over the summer, I've been working on two solos that will bookend the performance. One looking at the trauma that I was moving through in terms of space and individuals and myself, to precede the group work. And then in the end, almost, sorry to say this as a coincidence, but it is following my heart. Where am I going? What's the pathway and where is this freedom? And so hopefully
Look what you started, Cass.
I know, look what you
I'm
started.
telling
It doesn't make sense. But we're even moving through the space. We've been able to work with Lydia Gravis of the Shaw Gallery at Weber State University, and she was one that kind of led us down the track or pathway of really working with nature and bringing that into the space, knowing that it is monochromatic and that it is concrete and man-made or human-made. And then also we are working through new elements because there haven't been, from our understanding or my understanding, this type of project in that space. And so even yesterday, dealing with the weather, with the sound and light, it was really interesting to be freezing in the cold, trying to make light happen in a space. And so I'm really interested and excited for what we bring on October 6th and November 3rd. And other than that, it will it will be present in the space until April 30th of 2024.
Weather looks good Friday.
Yeah, it looks amazing Friday. I'm so excited.
We did, just to go back, you asked about if we shot specifically for the space, or maybe Todd asked that, but we did actually take that into consideration. Now that I think about it, we looked at a lot of different locations of where we could shoot the project, and we did look at a lot of potentially concrete indoor environments, especially when weather was questionable. We were trying to find plan Bs, but ultimately we wanted to shoot it outdoors in sort of a more nature environment, to bring that into the space and sort of
Okay, so wait, explain this to me. So are you shooting live on Friday? No, you're not here Friday.
No, I'm not here Friday.
Okay, so everything's you shot in a day, but then that's all the shooting that needed to be done. And then the video will be shown how?
So the video is, gosh, how long is it? 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
So the video is 5 minutes, and that will loop on the TV display.
Got you. Okay.
So that'll be a running, looping video.
Yeah.
And then the imagery, actually, and all the imagery won't be up because we need to reserve the main floor for Joe's performance and the the dance surface that needs to get laid down, which will go over one of the installation pads. And then in November, so after the last performance, there are 2 large pieces that will get welded down. So there are 5 pieces that have been printed on sort of a plastic material, and they're transparent, and those are getting fabricated with steel frames, and they'll be welded to the floor. And then there's going to be a bunch of vinyl banners. That was another issue or limitation that we had to sort of solve, was how do we create 2-dimensional photographic works and have them live through the harshest environments of a Utah winter
fall
for
and
6
winter.
months and not just deteriorate completely. So
I guess we'll see what happens.
we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are doing one more filming,
We are doing, yep. go
so
ahead.
that the first Friday of every month, the live performance that will be filmed will be activating the space. So during those gallery strolls, for those that miss it on October and November, we'll be able to see the performance. It will be on
good.
recording
Good,
that
yeah.
you will
Where is
play
that going to be?
on the same screen
Same
where
screen.
the
Okay.
video will be looped.
Okay.
Yes.
So it'll interrupt the looping video. It'll be an insert and play intermittent.
Gotcha.
Once the main art video is done, then the documentation, the archived piece will show after that, and
Yeah.
then we'll go back and kind of loop back and forth, I think is how we're going to
That's
do
so
that.
cool.
But yeah, we're
Awesome.
going to film that tomorrow, actually.
Yes.
So we're going to do a dress rehearsal tomorrow and then film that. And that's more of just an archival documentation of the project, so that when people come and see the photographic works and the video installation, they can also understand what happened there if they missed the live performance.
Coincidences.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Premiering Friday.
Well, while we have you both here, I have to ask, what are you working on? What else are you working on outside of coincidences? What's been keeping you busy? What's coming up?
Oh man, Joe, you go first.
Wow. I leave on Saturday morning to go to Seattle to perform with the University of Washington's Chamber Dance Company. I do that every year. I come back, I start setting a new work at University of Utah. I'm finishing a work for Weber State University that will premiere. All those will premiere on the same weekend in November. And then being the dance program director at Weber State, there's a lot of coursework, preparing for tenure. And then we are hosting a very large conference, the American College Dance Association's regional conference, where 500 plus university students from the Northwest region will descend to Ogden, and they will actually be able to experience coincidences in Jumpy Arts Plaza.
Oh, that timing is perfect. Well, we'll try to come up with something for you to do.
Okay, thank you.
You got some light times coming up. Yeah.
I leave Thursday for a trip for Ogden Contemporary Arts. I'll be traveling with Dylan Totaro, documenting 7 artists for a curated showing or exhibition, a group show that will be, I'm not exactly sure what the date of that will be, but basically Jorge Rojas is the curator for the show, and he is facilitating this group of artists to go on a train trip from Denver to Sacramento, and all of their works sort of revolve around the American West. And
There's a murder on the train, isn't there?
and then we have to figure out who
There's a murder on the train. Did,
I'm like, get to the good stuff. That's what it is, isn't it?
so
That
we're,
sounds amazing. What a cool project.
yeah, so it's a facilitated experience for them to get inspired for the works they're going to create for this group show. We are tasked with creating our own work to help promote that. So we're there to capture the experience of traveling via train through the American West.
So-
I just wish that Jorge would come up with interesting projects, though. So. Just one after another, just like you, Joe. I'm like, gosh.
I mentioned to Cam when he told me that I took a film class, and they mentioned that the trains were like the first film, like the first moving pictures, because you would sit in a chair and you'd look out the window as it traversed across the West, and you watched the landscape. And before the film cameras came, Cass, where are you going? Yeah. Before the film cameras were invented, that was like the first So I don't know if people weren't looking out windows on boats or whatever, or any other type of transfer.
Just trains.
Just trains,
Just
I guess,
trains.
back then. But I thought it was interesting that you were taking this train across the West.
Yeah, the California Zephyr.
Cali Zephyr.
Yeah.
They shortened it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Sounds phenomenal. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it should be a grid. Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's one of these projects where there's not like a clear brief, even though it's like client-based work, but it's
Do you
sort
do
of,
anything else? That's pretty much what you do, isn't it, Cam?
what's that?
Just
Unclear briefs.
Just
a
unclear
loose,
briefs.
Yeah.
just got a loose idea. I'm going to go for it
Loose ideas. That's what we
110%.
do. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited because it's sort of a blank slate. We get to kind of show up and create what inspires us. So we're almost like given the space to be artists in our own right on the trip, even though we're not sort of the featured artists or the artists who are going to be in this group show, but our work is going to help promote that show. So
It's like nobody tells Cam what to do.
yeah,
How long is that trip?
5 days. Yeah.
5 days.
Yeah.
Enough for murder to happen.
Enough for
I tell you what.
We did
I mean, I don't want that to happen, but if you were to capture a story within a story,
Yeah.
within stories probably.
Joe, can I get to know you just
Yes,
for a minute?
please.
How did you know when you wanted to be a dancer? Like, how did you go from
Little homosexual
to that
dancing queen.
to well, I don't know, you watch Cheer? You watch Cheer on Netflix? I
Yes.
love Cheer, right?
Yes.
And the one guy was he played football before. He was like, I'm extra is the word he used, and then he ended up going to Cheer. And so I don't know what age that was when you became a dancer, and then at what point when you were dancing, which is this part that fascinates me, where you thought to yourself, this can't just be a hobby, this has to be a career. Like, I have to make a living I have to do this for the rest of my life.
Tell
And you got
everyone-
like 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Wrap
right
it
now-
up.
You know, it was MTV, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson. I knew that I wanted to move my body like they did, and
Okay, you may not know this. I took jazz for 10 minutes.
We may not know this. Everybody knows this.
Okay, true. I know some jazz dance to Janet Jackson. I will show you later.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Rhythm Nation.
Well, yeah, we'll compare moves.
Okay, yes,
yeah.
let's
Okay.
do it. And then they needed a gymnast in high school for Pippin.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they wanted me to learn choreography. I had no clue what it was. I just thought learning steps was just learning steps. From there, I ended up being the first boy on the all-girl dance team. And we went to nationals. They made a big announcement. And I just moved off to Germany, came back, and I decided I wanted to dance and go to college. And a friend said, hey, there's a black professor at University of Wyoming. And I moved out to Laramie, Wyoming the week before Matthew Shepard's life was taken away. And then I saw University of Utah's dance program and got sucked into Utah. And every time I leave, I always end up coming back. And I've been able to dance with Ray Woodbury. Dance company is celebrating 60 years, be able to travel the world, dance in amazing theaters, and just the opportunity to share those experiences and passion for dance and the opportunities that it brings to meet Cam as well as others, to work with them and to share that with students. And then I work with individuals in the incarcerated system, individuals with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and all disabilities. It makes sense that I am on this pathway.
I love it. And just based off of reality shows, because that's where I live, Utah kicks out some dancers.
Oh, they sure do. They sure do.
How? What is that?
So much. I mean, I keep hearing stuff. Ballroom is such a huge culture here. And clogging, I don't know anything about clogging, but
Okay.
every university in Utah has a dance program.
Okay.
Cass,
Did you dance?
I clogged, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I knew to
Good
throw it out
dancer,
there.
actually.
And Utah's one of the few states that has dance in elementary schools, junior high, high school, and beyond. So it's really quite amazing. There's something going on.
I
We
love it.
follow our heart like Cass.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Cash, you've been quiet. Do you have questions about her project?
I just, I had to go to the bathroom. I'm really glad I got that taken care of. But I'm really
I'm
excited
glad
to see
too.
what you've been working
excited
on.
to see your
'cause
project.
I've been hearing a lot about it for the last year.
We covered it while you were gone. We talked about your project. We got really deep. We talked about you like a lot.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we're
45
pretty much
seconds.
done.
Glad I missed it. That was good.
Oh, okay. Well, Cass,
Well,
thanks for coming. Appreciate
Thanks
it. Joe, Cam, thanks so much. And good luck on Friday. I'll be in a van. Todd and I will be at the van, and so we will miss it essentially. Well, it's like literally right next to us.
I'll sneak up.
You're going to look out the window probably and watch what's going on. But first Friday is going to be happening because that will be at the Plaza 6 to 9, if I remember correctly. Right?
Performance is at 7:30.
Performance is at 7:30. Okay. Good luck, Joe.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. All right, Cass, it's your turn.
I'll be there.
Now that you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Now that you're ready.
I'm so glad. Okay.
Okay. But
Great.
okay. So let's should we play this? I think just the audio is going to come through though. Yeah, we're going to play this. Are
Play.
you ready? Here we go.
Oh God.
2.5 miles up the side of a mountain on a trail that's held together by rocks and roots the entire way. It is so technical. One wrong step, that could mean a game-changing fall. It's really dangerous.
There is no way runners on the east can compete with runners on the west when it comes to the Max Vert October Challenge.
His goal was 500,000 feet in elevation.
He was running 30 to 40 miles a day up and down the same hill.
Cell service is just super intermittent. And these mountains, you're kind of just deep in the woods, and he didn't have a way to talk to anybody.
I felt really very, very isolated out there.
He wasn't smiling anymore. He looked like a shell of himself.
It was kind of like snowballing a little bit.
He was like reliving traumas out there.
I was hallucinating, visually like seeing these traumatic experiences.
You know, you have to fall apart sometimes to climb out of that hole. He believed in himself, even in that like really dark place when everything was saying stop, he kept going.
Okay, that is Upward, the new, what do you call it, a film?
Yeah. Documentary.
Documentary
Yeah.
film?
Yeah.
By Cassidy
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the orchestra you hired, apparently. I mean, you got, yeah, like how did that happen?
The orchestra?
Yeah, the music is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Art list.
Musicbed.com.
Yes. Commercial break.
Commercial break. No, that was good. How did you, I mean, these are your friends, right? Like how did,
Yeah.
but how did you start?
How did it?
How did it start? How did it come to be?
Yeah.
And tell us the story.
Yeah. So what it is so Reid Woolsey, he set this world record for Cirque Series is a race series that's based out west. They do like kind of high elevation run races.
Like Vert challenges.
Vert
right?
challenges,
okay.
races. So they put on this like this challenge called Max Vert October, where it's like a virtual challenge. So you can run from wherever you're at and use Strava to track your elevation. And so the Cirque Series director, Julian Carr, started this in like 2019 when like all the races were canceled, COVID, and it kind of just took off and people just kept showing up, like pushing
Right.
these crazy limits. So the previous record was at 400,000 vertical feet
For a month?
for a month.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 31 days. And then Reid set out to do
Wait,
500.
time out. That was, okay,
Yeah.
the record was what?
400,000.
400,000.
Crazy.
In a month.
Hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, okay. So his
Yeah.
record is over 500.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Reid set out to do 500. And like, it's hard to even imagine what that is. Like,
Yeah, how many miles a
if
day
you-
or what?
Yeah, and if you think about like Mount Everest, that's like the tallest point on Earth. It's 29,000.
Cam's
feet.
doing math over there. Cam, what'd you got?
Well, 400,000 is almost 13,000 feet a day. So 500,000 would be
18,000 feet a day.
somebody else.
Cass knows it. Yeah.
16.
She's all, I
Actually.
literally made a film about this.
Divided by 31.
Oh, 16? That's
16
it? Huh?
16,000 feet a day. Yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. So I didn't really know what was going on. All I saw in November of last year was that Reid Woolsey, my friend, set a world record for a running challenge, and it was like, what? And that's all I knew at that point. What I also knew is that Reid only started running in 2018, and I remember when he started running. It was like,
What did he do before? Do you know?
He mostly
he's
walked.
athletic.
He mostly walked.
He like wrestled in high school, and he's a
Okay.
really strong climber and stuff. But he just started like running in 2018, and it changed his life. Like he was going through a really hard time in 2018, and I remember when he started running and how like that was a life changer. And so I was really drawn to that part of it. I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like do a little video interview with Reid.
Yeah,
'Cause he-
that's how Todd and I work too. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's get him on the podcast. And then,
Yeah.
but then it turned into something.
Yeah.
more.
So he lives in North Carolina right now. He did the challenge in North Carolina. He was coming to visit Ogden. So I like met up with him, like recorded this interview. And then when I started hearing about the whole challenge, it was just like, whoa, there's so much to this story. There is so much, and it's insane. And like, he's not getting any like,
Press. Or, I
attention
mean,
or
like, how
anything
many,
from
who
it.
carried the story?
yeah, like really no one. And I was like, oh, I feel like this is turning into a bigger project. And so, and the other cool part of it is like, no one knew who he was. You know, there's all these other pro runners are getting a lot of press, and the challenge started. They're like, oh, there's, you know, out in Colorado, like where at the Manitou Incline, where you can get a lot of vert in like a mile.
Yes.
I think it's 2,000 feet in a mile. Steps.
Right.
So there
Right.
was like these two guys there that were like, we're gonna beat the record, and like they had the news crew out there on the
Right.
week one, and like Reid like didn't even drop any of his data for the first week. He was just like running alone.
Wait, so he had
in
a week that wasn't even
Appalachia.
captured?
Well, he so you upload your Strava
Oh, he
information
uploaded
to
it
the
after.
to
Okay.
the run site.
Yeah.
So like no one knew he was even in the race
Yeah,
till the end of
Okay.
week one.
Yeah.
And he
He
like
tricked them all.
yeah. And they're like, who's Reid?
Yeah.
This guy out in North Carolina where the mountains are much lower.
So that's what I got out of your trailer.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
voiceover guy does a
Yeah.
good job of that, which I don't
Yeah.
know who he
That
is.
was a podcast.
That was a podcast.
Some other podcast.
Obviously not as good as ours.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah. I think it's called the Adventure Running Podcast.
It was a fine voice.
No, he did really good because he sets the stage of
Yeah.
talking about that point where, and then your video along with it was pretty spectacular because I wouldn't have thought of this, that the east, the mountains aren't as steep and
Yeah.
and they're full of branches and rocks and these things,
Yeah.
like the trails aren't as
Yes.
defined and it's just harder to do there.
Yeah. Yes. And it, so he had to run more miles to get that same elevation. That, you know, so that took more time during the day. So
Right.
it's like 30 to 40 miles. He ended up like not really realizing how much support he needed during that. And so that little part of the trailer was like, he went through this really dark period, like week 2, where he was completely alone running this trail, like up and down.
Yeah, it sounded awesome.
Yeah, I don't.
It sounded
I don't
awful.
get
It just sounded awful.
Yeah, and
And
he
then
just
just
like
keep
kept
doing it.
going. Yeah, and
And we find out in the film, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
what the motivation was, right? Because
yeah, and I think like so he, you know, he's open about, we address like he's open about talking about how he struggled with depression and anxiety and stuff, and he's gotten through these really hard, dark periods in his life. And so I think that was like almost, you know, like part of why he was able to push through such a dark place in this challenge.
So talk to me about how you went about filming something that had already happened, because it was something you didn't get to film him in action, correct?
Yeah.
Recreations.
Yeah, recreation.
Yeah. Yeah. So, initially when I first talked to him and I did like an initial interview, I started realizing all the different aspects of it that I should try to include. So I ended up just going out to North Carolina where he was. And I also interviewed his partner, Alana, who has like a very, she was the voice in that trailer. She's a very good storyteller and has like, a perspective, a very intimate perspective about this whole thing. And so we went out to the trails that he ran. There was 2 different trails he ended up running on. It's all part of the story. But yeah, and we just shot in those trails. It was winter time. So like the Appalachia, it's Blue Ridge Mountains, just absolutely gorgeous. Such a beautiful, magical place. And even in the winter, but like the leaves were out of the trees. It's still very biodiverse area. But I think like what I captured on that trip was a lot of these trees. It kind of just like added to this kind of like isolation feeling, like a spooky feeling. So I was like really glad that I got those shots. But I ended up going back again few weeks ago and reshooting a bunch of stuff to fill in a lot of these holes that, once I put the interviews and the whole story together, I like realized where the holes were, and then I did need to go back if I really wanted to do it the right way.
Is this the type of filmmaking that you like to do? Because this is retelling. What'd you call it, Todd?
Like a reenactment.
Like a reenactment?
Oh,
Yeah.
but I don't think you reenacted too much. You just got some more shots. Unless was he in all those shots too?
He was in the shots.
He was in the shots.
Yeah, he was in there.
It's almost like
It was a
action.
reenactment.
It's almost like action B-roll.
Yeah. Action B-roll, and then like I do have like some clips mixed in there of like him on the actual trail, like during the challenge, like just from his cell phone and stuff like that, and like some photos and stuff that I'm like mixing there. So
what do you think of the results?
I think so. I'm
She's still editing,
I'm
Todd.
still editing.
You got a couple
I
weeks.
think it's a really good story, and I feel very honored to be like telling it, and I think that he deserves it too, and it's been cool. Yeah, like it's been a whole thing for me, it's been a really big project. I mean, it's been just basically a passion project, and it's a 40-minute film. It's like a 40-minute thing, and there's been times where I've been like put it on the back burner and like wanted to just like be done with it, but it's like in a way just all the themes of it have kind of pushed me forward to like keep going. Like it's one step at a time, like just like Reid's inspiring me to like keep working on it.
I mean, he worked hard, right?
He worked hard. I was like, is this
He
overly?
did his part, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, is this an overly ambitious project?
He's like, wait, you're tired of
telling me
editing?
about overly ambitious? Yeah. So
You mean his sponsors aren't just thrown down on this?
he doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't have
sponsor.
any-
He
yeah.
didn't-
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
he
he's
doesn't.
not even sponsored, and
That's all the more
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Now, I have to know
Yeah.
what's his thoughts on you doing this project? Like, of you having that initial conversation with him, because he's clearly was
Yeah.
doing this for himself,
Yeah.
and he wasn't getting the attention that you felt the story deserved.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's not why he's doing it.
No,
We'll figure out
not at all.
why he's doing it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I still don't
Yeah.
know entirely
Still
why
don't know
he's.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll know soon when I watch this film.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not super into, I mean, he's very humble. He's not into like social media at all. Like, or
Yeah, well, neither are
attention
you or Cam.
anything.
I swear, you guys are not. Cam's getting better. He's improving.
This week.
But this week, yeah.
I know, that's how I feel. I'm like, this week I've been better at social media.
Cassidy's like, oh, I'm back. I got a film preview. I'm back on social media now.
Yeah,
Like,
There must be an opening
exactly.
around the corner.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, he was excited that I was excited. And I was like, this is crazy. This is really crazy. He's like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about Robert Davis's role. In all
Okay.
this.
Robert also did Max Vert October, and he did it here in Ogden. So with the challenge, you can race individually, and you can also form a 2-person team, and then the top 3 teams place. So it's like your vert together, puts you at a place. So so they were a team. Robert and Reid were a team, and so they were racing, opposite sides of the country, just kind of trying to keep in touch through the phone and when they had service. So Robert did it in Ogden. He chose Malin's Basin Trail to run on, and he was lapping.
This is the best part.
He was lapping Malin's 8 to 9 times a day, every day in October.
Every day.
To put some sort of perspective on like how much these guys were running. Like, 31 days, 8 to 9 times a day up and down Malin's. And so Malin's is,
I'm like, I
Okay,
can't even
yeah.
because for someone who's like a fit hiker, I guess it's like pretty good hiker. It takes an hour to get up Malin's. If you can get up Malin's in under an hour, you're pretty fit. And that's
Yeah.
another like half hour down. And so if you're going to do 8 laps every day, are you kidding me?
yeah, I couldn't,
10 hours a day.
yeah. Takes
What the hell
day.
is this Robert's job in October?
He had to take work off.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell his work why. He just said, I've got some personal things to take care of.
I'm guessing more like a lot of Zoom meetings.
Oh my
Your
God.
face.
No, he actually took the whole, you have to take the month off if you're going to do that much. Like, that takes a lot of time. And so, like, Malin's is the steepest trail for, the best option that he had. But it's also, like, the most popular trail. So it's like he was being stopped all the time by people being like, what are you doing? Like, I just saw you and now I'm seeing you again for the 4th time. And so he'd have to stop and explain, and he was like losing time, like talking to people. And I remember
Because he's nice and
because
does
he's
that.
super nice and
Yeah.
he talks a lot. Robert talks a lot. So, and I remember, I remember seeing it. I guess I hiked Malin's once last October. And I did one time. Yeah, and I was like, what are you doing? And then I just didn't
So
know
we
what he
can
was
relate.
talking
We
about.
can- yeah,
it just
we're all
like went
on
over my
board.
head. I'm like, cool, that's great. Cool.
So you didn't even know. You didn't even know.
I didn't really get what
Okay.
he was talking about when he
Yeah.
was trying to explain it, and I
Yeah.
bet nobody really did,
Right.
or like can really wrap their head around it. But
Or just thought
yeah,
he was crazy.
yeah, it's just like why,
Yeah.
why, what, why?
Well, did he win, or we have to wait to
so-
the film
so-
to watch?
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Yeah, their team was top.
Okay.
They won team. Robert did 407.
So he broke his own record.
He broke the previous
previous
record
record.
as
Okay.
well. So the top 4
Wow.
passed or broke the previous world record as well. So he got 4th place.
It gets to
Yeah.
the point where it's
Pretty
like
amazing.
Did Reid?
someone's going to stay awake for
Reid-
all 30
Reid-
days and just
Reid
hike
won.
or something.
won.
Yeah,
Reid won.
Reid won.
But now it's October again. I don't know if you guys knew. So that's why I was like, hey, I got to push this out.
Why do you think I was late for the podcast?
Your 10th rotation. Yeah, that's really funny.
Cam's going for the record. He's going to be lapping that train here coming up.
I used to drink 2 beers.
Okay,
Yeah, but I think there's going to be a couple people trying to beat Reid's record for sure.
which is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
They're
Crazy.
going to do it, though. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's just crazy what humans can do.
That's where I was going. Like they're just going to stay up for all 30 days of October at one of these years and just run. What did you learn, or what are you learning? I mean, you kind of gave me at least before the podcast a little hint into you got remotivated at one time. But what did you learn in this process?
Yeah. I think there's some like interesting themes that like motivated me throughout it, and just like I reflected on, and yeah, like I think, you know, there were points that I like on this project wanted to like kind of just give up on it or just be done with it. And yeah, I got like re-inspired, and one theme that I learned is like I'll probably never do something like this again by myself. And like in hindsight, it would have been even better if there were other people helping. But it was like, oh, I just like was like, I'm not gonna ask anyone. I'll do it myself, you know, which is also kind of like what Reid was going through. He didn't ask for any help or support, but it's like that's a theme, is like reaching out is good, and like for like we can do more if we do it together, you know, is like a big theme of it. But like actually yeah, like there was a point in July, actually I was with Cam in Oregon.
Small world, small town.
Yeah. And
I needed help.
Cam and Dylan.
I reached out.
He reached
we all
out
do
for my help. I was with Cam and Dylan, and Dylan's, you know, Dylan and I have been besties for a long time. And I showed him what I had.
And Dylan works with Cam.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so we're both in the film world, and I showed Dylan what I had, and he was like, this is a really good story. Like, you need to do it right. He's like, go back out there. Go back out and get the shots you need. And I'm like, okay. You know, it's just nice to have, like, some support, like, just to watch it and be like, okay, you've got something here. Like, keep going, you know? Yeah. And then, like, I actually told Cam about it, Cam and Kelly, about, because you guys were talking about your crazy run in Switzerland. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm working on this thing, just this thing.
Just this thing.
Reid. And you were like, I'd love to see it. I was like, would I dare show Cam what I have?
Come on.
And then I was like,
Cam's mean, man.
What reputation do I have?
Well, it just kind of like put it into like a perspective. Like, what do I want out of this? And like, I've put so much into it. Like, why not like do it right and put it out the right way and stuff. And so that was just like kind of a good little extra push.
Did he like it? Did you show him anything?
I haven't showed him anything.
Oh, you've seen nothing?
So I'm not going to show him.
It'll be a good critique. He gives this podcast like 1 star. After he's on it.
Yeah, no cup holder.
Yeah.
We knew better.
That's our comment. People mostly say like 4.5 stars.
Great show,
great show, but wish they had a cup holder. That's sort of where we end up on the reviews on Apple Podcasts. Okay, so are you nervous for the release? I mean, you got to finish editing.
I still have
so there's that.
A little editing to do. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm excited. Yeah. I think it's going okay.
I think it's going to be awesome.
I think
excited.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It'll be good.
Congrats. It's a big deal.
Thanks. Yeah. It's
huge.
It's been
40-minute documentary.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Have you ever given up on anything, Cam, or wanted to? I mean, because that's what she had feelings of like, oh my gosh, it takes forever.
Yeah, I mean, daily. I mean, there are so many ideas that are so easy to give up on because they're hard, and I have that all the time. I mean, I'm not kidding, daily. And so I think that says a lot about, you know, how good the idea is. Like, you can have really good ideas, and the ones that are worth pursuing just haunt you, and you just stick it out, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Stick with it. Get it done.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to
happy
get
to
this
do it.
film out
I'm-
before that record
Well,
gets
exactly.
broken.
That's what I was so stressful about. It was like I know I have like a deadline. Like my first deadline was February, and then it was March, April, May, June, and then I was like, it's got to be done before October.
Wait, time out. Your
End of
first
October.
deadline was February?
Yeah, I was like, I'll get it done in February, and then
Yeah.
it didn't happen. So
Sounds like filmmaking.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Personal project filmmaking.
Yeah, yeah.
So remind us, how can we see your film?
Well, it will be playing at the Monarch Building in Ogden, Utah, on October 16th, and it's gonna start at 7:15, and then there's gonna be a DJ after, which will be fun.
What?
Yeah, DJ Adam. That's Reid's brother-in-law. He's pretty fun.
Keep it in the
So,
family.
yeah. Yeah, he was like, I'll DJ. I'm like, yeah, duh. Please. Yeah, so it'll be fun and a good reunion. Reid will be there too. Reid's flying out. Reid and
Signing
Anna will be
posters,
there.
right? We got
Signing
posters? Yeah.
and, yeah, answering questions, wearing a big coat, tie-dye coat, I guess.
See, now we know. That's a little clue. How do we get
Big
tickets?
fun coat.
Man, he's already got his wardrobe picked out.
I know.
Yeah, him and Robert have been planning their
Scheming.
matching outfits.
Oh, this is great.
Let's see. Tickets are on a link, Eventbrite.
Do we follow Instagram?
Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. So the link is in my bio and Instagram.
Captured by Cassidy or the other one?
Cassidy Eames.
Cassidy Eames.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cassidy Eames. That's CASSIDYEAMES.
Not the first time she said that. Oh my god. That was
Link in
brilliant.
my bio for tickets. Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
You
Give me a
got
follow,
what
of
is it
course.
with the artists that are just horrible at self-promotion?
I know. It's
Yeah.
true. It's hard.
It is.
Todd, do you have any? Thanks, Cassidy. Good luck. This is awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks, Cassidy.
Seriously, I'll need it. Thank you. I do need luck.
That was one of our better transitions. And when we're done with you, we're done with you.
Oh my god.
Moving on to the weather.
Okay, I feel better.
I'm really excited about the film, though. I really.
good.
I mean, the
too late
trailer
now.
was amazing.
It's too late now.
Well,
we
yeah.
already transitioned.
Oh, sorry.
out.
Yep, we're out. Moving
Camera's
on.
back on
Yeah,
me
I'll
again.
finish.
It is, Todd. It's on you.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
No, I have.
You have a gallery opening. I think.
Friday night, I have a gallery opening, the Finch Lane Gallery. If I may have mentioned, that's the gallery that I run in Salt Lake City. Good quality work. I was down there today. The artists were dropping it off. It's Trent and his father, Clint Call. I don't know if you're familiar with these artists. They're pretty well known. And they're going to be in the East Gallery, and the West Gallery is an artist named Elise Anderson, also phenomenal. And I won't be there, which is always sad, but it is the same night as our band sessions. And so, but you can catch that show. It'll be up for about 6 weeks. And it will also coincide with 2 of Salt Lake City's gallery strolls, which is every 3rd Friday. And one other thing is I do have a call for entries going on right now through the month of October for our Flash projects. And if you are unfamiliar with Flash projects, first of all, make sure and look up Salt Lake Arts. Oh my God, what's our website?
I don't know.
saltlakearts.org.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's just say it's that. It's Salt Lake City Arts Council. And so I have a year-round program of exhibitions. I squeeze in 2 sort of these free weeks. I call them these Flash projects. They're kind of pop-up shows. And so I'm looking for proposals, what we can use during that window. Often it is multidisciplinary. Maybe it's dance, maybe it's film, maybe it's something that's short term. I'm looking for a really good puppet proposal. I would love to see some sort of puppet show. Personal thing, I probably won't see a puppet proposal. But this call is going on through the month, and it just opened a couple days ago. So check it out. And
Very good.
Give us some ideas. Yeah.
Very good.
What do you got going, Brandon?
Well, van sessions, Cass. You're gonna say
Oh, I was
something?
just going to say, Todd, do you remember when we were in art class together?
Yes.
You
Which
do.
class was it?
Art history, I think. our foundation is sound foundation.
Like you were in class together?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
that. You had
I
just
don't
moved
remember
here.
Yeah,
It's
that was
fine.
a long time ago, and
Yeah,
I don't
now you're
remember
famous,
which class
so
it was.
I
yeah.
understand.
Where?
Everything.
Oh yeah, you know.
Wow.
You know, I think I
You would just, it doesn't matter, but that's where we first met.
No, that's where it is. Thank you
Years
for
ago.
bringing it up.
Years ago.
God, I love that story.
Art
That's
history,
great. I
art
can't.
history something.
Yeah, art history or foundations of art history or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember which class it was.
What'd you guys
I don't
learn?
know. Like,
Enough to keep moving forward.
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we looked at, yeah.
We followed her heart.
Yeah. That's all. That's
circle.
what you learn.
Thanks for bringing it back around, Todd.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. We have van sessions on Friday, and Todd books van sessions, and he does a fantastic job. We have Sammy's coming back, and then we have Alicia Stockman, I think,
For the first time.
for the first
She's
time,
bringing her band. Yeah.
and then Vincent Draper and the Coles. And for the first time ever, well, first of all, we have a reading from a literary artist who he resides near the border of Mexico, and he writes Duolingo type stuff for his novels. And he will do a reading between the first and the second band. Ruben Degalado. I don't know how to say his last name. Nailed it. And then for the first time, we will have a stand-up comedian. I don't know how this is going to go, Todd. I'm a little nervous. Arvin Mitchell, out of Orem. He's popular on the cruise scene, the cruise boat, which you used to.
Yeah.
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 And
It's kind of a sweet gig he had there for a while.
Yep. And so he wants to. His name's Arvin, which rhymes with like RV. Arvin is so he wants to buy an RV and travel and do stand-up comedy shows. So he's going to come test the concept here Friday in front of a live audience during van sessions between the second and third band. So
catch
that
the
is going
opening.
on.
Obviously, you have to
Yeah.
catch the opening over at Dumpke, and then you can come and we'll have. Theoretically, it's from 7 to 9.
you can do all the things.
but there's no way we're
all the
doing all of that
things.
in 2 hours. And so feel free to stick around a little bit later.
I love it so much. Okay, while they're taking selfies, let's jump to wrapping this up. Thank you to Band One for powering today's episode of the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. There's another one right there. Subscribe to Ogden Arts and Adventure on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and thebandingcollective.com. You want to be on the show, you have feedback or anything, DM us on Instagram at Ogden Adventure. I thought this was a fitting song to wrap up this podcast, and I didn't know the theme was going to be what it was, but this is as close as I can get. This song is called Face Your Fears. This is a Van Sessions from 2 months, maybe two months ago. The Painted Roses on Van Sessions at the Monarch, and we will see you on the next Ogden Arts and Adventure Show.
Look at this woman in a Spanish sun. See the words I want you on the tip of her tongue. Trace my fingers across her skin. I'm under the influence. We smoke a spirit while we watch the waves. Turn me to stone with a steely gaze. Hearts over diamonds and I'm all in. I'm under the influence. And I know you said I should face my fears. And I know you said I should face my fear. See her reflection from across the way. Clamor in the streets while the children play. The man in the markets that screamed at you. walk alone with my head up high. The shadow comes along in the street lit night. The girl on the corner, she knows my name. God damn it, I'm all yours. The girl on the corner, she knows my name. God damn it, I'm all yours. And I know you said I should face my fear. And I know you said I should face my fear. Ooh. And I know you said I should face my fears, but oh, I know I should. But I'm under the influence. Oh, I know I said I would face my fears, but and I know I should. But I'm under the influence. And I know I said I would face my fears, but oh, you know I should. But I'm under the influence. Oh, I know I said I would face my fears, but oh, I know I should. But I'm not. Thank you so much.